Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to take a look at the state of the grading companies. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, and the last time I did one, however many months ago it was, the landscape was entirely different. All four, well, the big four companies here, at least we're going to call them the big four for the sake of this video, have dramatically lowered their prices and have all sorts of things going on in terms of turnaround times and price decreases and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's other companies to consider here. The big four I'm calling PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CSG. I think most people in the hobby would sort of say that they're the big four, with CSG being the notable number 4, PSA being the distant number 1 by any sort of notable metric, and then Beckett and SGC vying for the 2 and 3 spot, however you want to say it. There's other companies, of course, to consider: HGA and GMA, and a couple new companies, Tag and FCG. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but these really are sort of the big four in terms of market share at this point. And just to review some of the main attributes, PSA is, like I said, really the industry leader still. They've been around the longest. They receive the most number of cards to grade by far, and they generally have the highest resale value. Not always, but generally. Beckett, BGS, is the only company with subgrades. So it's sort of surprising that of the top four, only one company offers subgrades, but that's the case, and it is indeed Beckett. SGC has the tuxedo look and is well known for their very, very strong customer service. And then CSG, like I said, is the number 4 spot. They're the new kid on the block, but they have sort of a strong backing and come from a company with a lot of grading collectibles experience. All right, we'll start with PSA, who I believe receives something like 75% of all sports cards that are sent in for grading go to PSA. Just a massive market share. They're the industry behemoth, and they've made a number of price decreases recently, with the most recent being $15, adding a $15 grading special. That's for the month of November only. It's for modern sports cards valued $199 and less, and it comes with a 120-day turnaround. You do have to be a Collectors Club member to get that. That was on top of a recent decrease down to $18 for bulk submissions, also $199 declared value and 120 days or less. And also, again, you have to be a Collectors Club member for that. That $18 was down from a $30 minimum fee not too long ago and a $50 fee not too long before that. So just a constant decrease, and now down to $18 and even $15 here for the monthly special. And of course, they have much more expensive options if you want faster turnaround times or have more valuable cards, as you can see here. They will upcharge you if you send in a card at too low of a service level, given the declared value. All right, next let's check out Beckett, which was sort of the slowest company to get moving in terms of making changes, but they did recently make some major changes and price decreases. And the first was that they came down to $16 per card. That's without subgrades. And that comes with a 40 card minimum and 30 to 60 business day turnaround. I think they got a lot of feedback that people really want a discounted price with subgrades. The subgrades is really sort of the most popular aspect of Beckett, and so they added a $22 special with subgrades, and that comes with a 10 card minimum and again a 30 to 60 business day turnaround. Beckett does not have a max declared value at any of their service levels. The additional price you'd pay to move up a service level is to increase the turnaround time, but no max declared value, so that means no upcharge fees, things like that. All right, next is SGC, and they were sitting at $30 per card as their minimum fee for quite a while, but they also recently dropped down their prices, and I think all the companies have sort of been dropping down prices sort of in tandem, obviously not in tandem, but in order to stay competitive with one another as all the others do it. Their current lowest level is $18 per card, although you do need 50 cards in your order to get it down to $18 per card. If you only have one card, the minimum charge is $24, and there's a couple of tiers in between those. The turnaround time for SGC is really pretty amazing. It's listed at 5 to 10 business days, but it's reported often that it's quicker than that, 7 to 10 days, door-to-door type of thing. Really the industry leader in that category by far. Sort of, I don't know why you would consider the 1 to 2 business day option. Seems like a waste of money given how fast their standard turnaround times is, but maybe if you're, truly desperate to get your card back immediately, I guess. But they do not upcharge for modern cards, but they will for vintage. So if you send in a really expensive vintage card in at one of the lower levels, they may upcharge you for that. And last is CSG, which has also made a bunch of price changes recently. Most recent, 20% off of all their services, which I think runs through the end of the year and has made them the cheapest option of the big four. They're currently at $12 per card for their bulk service, which is, like I said, the cheapest of the big four, and that does come with a 25 card minimum and a $250 max declared value. It has a turnaround time of 20 days. If you don't have 25 cards in your order, then the economy service would be your cheapest option at $20 per card. Like with PSA, they have other service levels that get more expensive as you go up in declared value and you want a quicker turnaround time. So looking at all four of them sort of side by side here on one chart, you could evaluate this in a bunch of different ways, but to me the most notable is that all four companies' prices is pretty close. I mean, the cheapest service level they offer ranges from $12 for CSG up to only $18 for SGC. That's a pretty tight window, at least compared to what we've seen in the past or over the last few years when there were wild swings and wild differences in the prices. Here they're all sort of clearly competing with each other to get the prices down and staying competitive by lowering prices little by little. CSG is the cheapest, but they're sort of the least established and have probably the lowest resale value at the moment. SGC is the most expensive, but does come with the rapid, incredible turnaround times. The CSG's turnaround time is pretty impressive too, although the CSG turnaround times I'm just getting from the website. SGC I know from personal experience that they are lightning quick at the moment. PSA has the longest turnaround times by far and the lowest declared value, but their resale value is really just way ahead of everybody else in general. Beckett's biggest feature, like I've said, is the subgrades, although you need $22 to get the subgrade option. That's, I guess you could say that's technically the most expensive if you consider, subgrades necessary if you're going with Beckett. So from a purely collector's standpoint, I think we have four really nice options in the hobby, and I don't think we've ever been able to say that before. I think this is really the first time when there was four legit options. All four of these companies are very well established at this point. They're all competitive with their prices, and if you're purely a collector, you can pick and choose which of these four companies you like. What value, what's important to you? Do you like the look of the slab, or do you like, is turnaround time important, or whatever it is? All four of these I think are very, very legit options, and I think that's nice for the collector. If you're a reseller with any sort of long-term mentality, PSA is probably going to be your choice most of the time, given that they're just as cheap as the other companies, and the resale value generally is just much higher. But if you're, if you have more of a flipper's mentality, you may choose some of the other companies with the faster turnaround time. And I'll finish on this chart here, which I always include in my State of the Grading Company review videos, and nothing's changed about this chart recently, but I just always find it really, really interesting. This is the grading scale that each company uses at the very top. They all have the exact same grading scale from 1 to 9, with 9 being mint, but above a 9, they're all different, all four of them. And I just find it really, amazing that PSA has the simplest scale above a 9. They don't have a 9.5. They don't have an Elite 10 grade. And I sort of thought for a while that the hobby was sort of moving towards that stuff. They really wanted the 9.5. They really liked the Elite 10 grades. And I thought that might hurt PSA, but it clearly hasn't. They clearly have no intention of adding that anytime soon. And like I said, it really has not impacted them in any way, at least that I can tell. Beckett scale has sort of become the least industry standard at this point. They're the only one that calls Gem Mint a 9.5. Every other company reserves Gem Mint for 10. CSG and SGC are basically the exact same scale. They just have a different word for their Elite 10 grade. And I did say that none of the companies have changed their grading scale recently. SGC did change it about 2 years ago, and CSG changed it maybe a year ago or so, something like that. But what you see here has been in place for probably about a year at least for all of these companies. But that's it, the state of the grading companies, at least for these four. Let me know all your thoughts. What company do you like? What do you use? Did I leave any important feature out about one of these companies that you find really, really significant? And thanks everyone for watching, and see you all again real soon. Eat your vegetables. Thanks everyone.